Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of IKnowTheOwner. In today's episode, clearly you do not know the owner, and I'm sure he's glad about that. How do you know me? There's been some sort of mistake, I'm the brother of the owner. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Clearly you do not know the owner, and I'm sure he's glad about that. Alright, so I work in a hotel and have done so at this hotel for about 3 years. It's been owned by the same guy for as long as I have worked here, and he owned it for about a year and a half before I started. He's a second-gen American and his parents are from India. They have a very common Indian last name. Yesterday, as I was leaving, 2 men came to check in. Only one was staying, but the other way paying for his room for him. I was getting ready to leave, so my coworker handled them, but I caught the whole exchange. This morning the man staying called down to the desk saying he was having issues making outgoing calls using the phone in the room. I checked the phone system, making sure that calling out of the hotel was available. Instructed him on how to make outgoing calls, dial 9 then the area code, and hung up. A little while later he called down again asking for a late checkout and made no further mentions of issues with the phone, so I thought that was that. Then about a half an hour or so later I got a call from a woman with a foreign accent I couldn't place. She gave the name of the man who paid for the room and the name of the person in the room and started asking questions about the rate paid. I told her the rate for last night, and she immediately tells me it's a rip-off and that the rewards rate would have been better. First of all, F*CKU. Second of all, yes it would have been, but that's not what was booked. I tell her the rewards rate can only be received if you book via the reward program. She interrupts me halfway through with yes and carries on asking about the rewards rate. I am not able to look up what the pre-tax rate is, but I know the after-tax total offhand from charging it so many times and give her that. She asks about what the price would be if it was booked using points, and again that's not something I would be able to look up. She asks if the guest would be able to book with points, since sometimes it is not available. Again, not something I can look up, she'd have to contact the people from the rewards program. It's up to the owner whether or not to make that available, and it's all in a program I don't have access to. So, after interrupting me, she starts going on about how she knows the owner. About how he went back to India, blah blah blah. I tell her no, the owner is not from India. She insists he is, and how she knows his daughter who graduated from a local college, and she was her mentor, blah blah blah. When I could finally get a word in edgewise, I told her no, he's not from India. He is from New Jersey. She must be thinking of the old owner who has not owned the property for at least 5 years. We argued a bit before I finally told her that the owner is an American man in his 30s, definitely not an Indian one with adult children. She asks for the owner's name, I give it. Remember how he has a common name? The old owner had the same last name. So obviously they must be related, the same way all Smiths and Joneses and Browns are /S. She gets excited and says yes. His son. No. I interrupt her this time and tell her it is just a common name, they are not related. Eventually she accepted this and started asking about the property. At some point she also mentioned being the sister-in-law of one of the men, but I missed which one because while she was talking a regular guest came up to the night window we've been using because COVID. I made a pathetic agonized expression and mouthed an apology, because the woman was already on my last nerve, and we weren't even done yet. The guest laughed and gave me a thumbs up before mouthing he wasn't in a rush. Anyway, so the lady is asking if the hotel had been cleaned up since the new owner took over. It had. She asked about how many jacuzzi suites we have. None, they've all been converted. Once again the conversation was all me attempting to answer her questions and being cut off so she could talk some more. Finally we got to the crux of what she actually wanted. Reward points for the guy staying in the room. There's a problem though. Points go to the person who paid unless they say otherwise, and no otherwise was said at check-in. She argued with me that this was our mistake. I told her no, the man who paid for the room didn't give us a reward number for the man, and didn't even bring up the topic of reward points. I was standing right there when it all happened. Well, she didn't like that. So she decided she wanted to talk to the guest to get his reward number, so she could give it to me, and asked to be connected to his room. Responsible hotels will require that a caller know both a guest's name and room number to connect them to a room. And we are a responsible hotel. In fact, normally I would not have even confirmed a guest was staying at the hotel, but it was already incredibly clear she knew he was here. Unfortunately for her, she is also very rude. So when she did not know what room he was in, I declined to bend policy for her. She argued and fought, but I stuck to my guns and told her that for guest privacy and security we do not connect callers to their room unless we've been told to connect a call or they have the guest's info that we require. At this point she started getting nasty with me, saying the only reason the other man even paid was because we have a rule that a guest must have a credit card or debit card to check in and the man staying didn't have one. She thought the rule was stupid because you can just go to Walmart and buy a prepaid card. No, I told her, we don't take those cards either partially for that reason. She yelled at me, saying we are bad at business, and that sort of information should be on our website. Spoiler alert, that information is in fact on our website, and I told her as much. She asked me if I had an MBA. What? She repeated it, but I didn't need to answer because she told me she would report me to the rewards program. Okay, go ahead and tell them I'm doing my job, and we have a policy that they already know we have. Enjoy. Finally, she hung up after wasting 10 minutes of my life I will never get back. When checkout time rolled around, the man actually in the room came down to the desk. He asked for the receipt, no problem, then asked with last night, and a night at an affiliated property last week, how many more points did he need to get a free night? I explained he would not get points for the previous night since it was booked and paid for under someone else's name. He argued that he did sign for it, he didn't, and paid cash for it, while holding a receipt showing the charge to a Visa card. No sir, the only one who can get points is the one booking the room unless they say otherwise. Before I could get the chance to tell him that all we needed was the guy who booked the room to say so, and we could change the room to his name, and get him the points, he started yelling at me. He said I was cheating him, and that he was going to call Channel 5. He then took a big swig from his can of sh*TTY beer, and threatened me again, saying I'm going to be on the news. As someone who has sat next to a drunk person while they called a news station to tell them about something, I was unconcerned. I told him to have fun with that. He gave me the finger and told me he was going to sit out front and wait for his ride. Okay, no problem, but you're going to have to throw the beer away because open intoxicants and all that. Normally we don't give a sh*T when contractors and other workers hang out in the parking lot and drink beer after work and stuff, but 11:30 in the morning standing next to the lobby is another story. He ignored me and went and leaned against the wall. The actual owner overheard this exchange. He doesn't appreciate stupid people, and he especially doesn't appreciate rude people. He went outside, demanded the man throw out his beer, and kicked him off the property. Like I told the lady, the new owner really has cleaned the place up. How do you know me? This happened way back when I worked at a pizza place. We did takeaway and delivery. There were a few seats where customers could sit while they waited for their orders but not eat them. On this particular day, the owner, John, not his real name, and I were working in the store. My usual coworker had called in sick, so John was filling in. Halfway through the day, a Karen walked in. At first, everything was just peachy. Karen asked for takeaway, gave her order, paid, and I made it. When the pizza was cooked, Karen sat down and opened the box, obviously intending to eat it there. Now, John didn't allow customers to eat in the shop cause we were not a restaurant and staff had a dozen things to do which didn't include clearing up messes left by customers. I was making an order for delivery, so John went up to Karen. I was all ears, as you can imagine. John, sorry, you can't eat here. Karen, how dare you? I know the owner personally, and he said I could eat here if I wanted. John, oh really? How do you know me? Karen went red, closed the box, and left without saying a word. John and I cracked up with laughter. There's been some sort of mistake, I'm the brother of the owner. LOL. A post on here reminded me of when I used to work at my Italian friend's cafe. It was a nice 20s style cafe. Red paint, cherub fixtures, white and black detailing. Tea leaf readings, faux gold inlays. Me in my stupid 20s working in a place that could have passed for the roaring 20s. A man walks in. He makes a beeline for the register. I'm the brother of the owner, he explains. Matthew or Mark? I ask, knowing that the three brothers are named after the first the chapters of the Bible. I work for Luke, so it's obviously not him. Mark. Fantastic. Would you like a coffee while you wait? I ask with foolish enthusiasm. Skim flat white. Absolutely. Take a seat here while I make your coffee and get your mother. I watch as he sits uncomfortably. There's no need to hurry her, she's probably tired. What a thoughtful son. I had thought to myself. He knows his mother is going through chemo and does not want to disturb her. She is a lovely woman, but at the time I only knew that she had cancer and Alzheimer's. I make his coffee and bring it and his mother from the apartment from above the cafe. Look, Mercia, how lovely it is that your son has come all the way from redacted city, 4 hours flight away. Poor Mercia and her Alzheimer's. She didn't recognize her own son. They sat and enjoyed their coffee while I retrieved the owner from his consultation with a client. Your brother has come to visit, I exclaim with much joy. All the way from redacted city, ****. Mark. Mark. Joy of joys, my overworked boss, who is running his own business and looking after his sick mother, has a surprise family reunion with his brother. Luke gets to the table that his mother and Mark are sitting at. His mother is the first to speak. Luke. Who is this man? I've never seen him in my life. I interject, Mercia, that's your son. Don't you recognize him? I've never seen him before. Luke looks at me, I've never seen him before either. Mark stands up, there's been a mistake, he exclaims before bolting for the door. And that, my dear friends, is how I accidentally scared off a scammer. Mercia is fine, by the way. Lives in an apartment complex 1 floor below Luke, who are turning 90 and 70 respectively next year.